All right, so this video is from a YouTube channel called The Table with AO, and on that, and what the title is of this video is, should women always be submissive to men, or should women always submit to men? That's the title of this video. So and we're gonna watch what they say, and then we're gonna go from there.
So there's a cuss word in the relationship world. Oh boy. That why you say oh boy? there is a word that every time I bring it up, I get a lot of negative feedback, and I'm okay with that. Because for me and my brand, I really want to help people be successful when it comes to their money and when it comes to their life in general. And a part of their life and money is in relationships. And in relationships, I believe there has to be submission.
Absolutely.
But I think a lot of people, when they hear me say, I think wives submitting to your husband is important, but I also believe that men submitting back to your wives as well is important. So let's talk about that for a little bit, and then don't get it twisted. I'm gonna come back to y'all about this whole, what are the 3 functions a woman should play? Just so I want to give them some practical things that single people can start practicing and working on now. But ladies, and we've already identified you two are different. All right. So, but I want y'all to think from the viewer and the listener right now. Why does the word submission come off wrong? And how should we, all of us, look at that word better?
I think oftentimes we look at the word submission, we think control. Because a lot of times you have some men who use it as a control mechanism.
True.
And so if we recognize what the word submission means, you know, as I previously stated, was when you're thinking about submission, I have to have something to submit under.
Yeah.
If you don't have a vision or a purpose, what am I submitting to?
Yeah.
So we look at the word submission like, oh, I can control you and you're going to do this and you're going to do that because that's what I said. Don't ask me any questions. But I don't really think that's what submission is all about. It's all about submitting to the vision and the purpose of the man, not submitting to the control of the man.
Yeah.
So the man doesn't want to swallow his pride and kill his flesh in that process and in that journey of understanding what submission truly means.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah, the word's been weaponized, essentially.
Yeah.
And it's been weaponized to be used against people. And I think when every relationship is different. So when 2 people can come to the table and have a conversation about how they want this specific relationship to look, then there can be clarity and understanding what that means between those 2 people. So we can't sign on to being in a relationship and it look like Cindy and John's, or sign on to be in a relationship and it looks like Bob and, Sarah. We need to sign on to a relationship that we have designed with God in mind for us. And what happens is people just try to come together and put a relationship together from, unfortunately, the scraps or the pieces that they see on TV or from what
Instagram.
Instagram or, unfortunately, not a lot of people have good representations of what a successful relationship looks like. And I think that in order to be successful in a couple, I personally think that couples should have couple mentors.
Wow.
Or couple coaches.
I agree.
So no successful person, whether it's in business or personally or whatever, doesn't have support, doesn't have a roadmap or a blueprint to help them get to that place. And so what I think is necessary, because to me, collectivistic, right? I'm from Africa, so I always think community, is that we need to have more conversations. With people that are in different levels.
Exactly.
We need the older generation to let us know, things that they've learned so that we can listen. What people don't want to do is listen because people's egos are in the way, their pain is in the way. We need to listen and figure out how we can apply that to our situation. Again, we're not listening to do exactly what they did, but to see what nuggets are for me and what do I need to pack away for when things get complex and we're not doing basic algebra anymore. Now we're on trigonometry, okay?
Right.
And so I think that having the community of other couples, having singles, having people that are single again, to be able to come together and have these really honest, vulnerable conversations could be the key to change things. So I think submissive has just been weaponized and there haven't been enough conversations to help people understand that they have a misconception of the concept.
Have we weaponized that word submissive as men?
Yes. I mean, our cultural reasoning has taught us, you're the head, you're the lead.
Yeah.
I mean, unfortunately, it's been used even with, leaders of church, where anytime that scripture comes out, wives, submit to your husbands. So you start to hear the, crossing. It's been weaponized as a means of, I want to control you. If I can control your thinking, I can control what you're doing.
Yes.
And so if particular age generation feels like, well, a woman's role is to be in the house and in the kitchen.
Yeah.
That's a viewpoint that's so antiquated and needs to be thrown out. How do we get to being a team moving in a direction if you're feeling like your person who's on your team is supposed to be behind you, or they're just some servant?
Right.
Like, no. We're supposed to both be coming to this thing equally serving.
Yeah.
So if she can see me submit, then it'll be easier for her to submit. Because I have bosses that I submit to. So like for men, we can't weaponize it towards our women, but then when you go to your boss and he says, I need you to do A, B, C, D, and E. Yes, sir.
Because we know you're capable of it.
Ooh.
So you're choosing not to do it in relationship, but you're doing it elsewhere. And that's problematic for a woman.
I think for me, to take away from the boss, let's go even higher than that. If I can't submit to God, you know what I'm saying, then my wife shouldn't be following me. But if my wife sees me submitting to God, but she can't, he can't and I can't love her in that way, not as in like God, but love her in a way and she's a partner, then we have a problem there as well.
Yes.
So I totally get you all.
So what other, all right, so let's, so that's a video. So one of the things that I give, that I want to ask you guys is submission is saying a woman has to submit to, like a woman has to submit to a man. Does that mean that we're trying to control them? What does that mean? Submissive? Does that mean control? What do you guys think? And what do you guys think about this video? Let's start, Mr. Chalon, you could get started. We could start with you, sir. You're muted, sir.
The question I want to ask is this. If a woman don't want, if submission is something that is an amazing video. Let me start it off right now. It's an amazing video. And one of the lady that says she's African, she's a foreigner, she says something that stand out, that we got to go to the elders. They've been there. They've done that. We got to look at what we want to become. And the ladies too, you want to become a mother, but first you want to become a wife. So a wife, meaning that when you pick that title up, is submissive. If you don't like the submissive rule that come with that title, don't be a wife. Don't apply for that job if you ain't going to show up. Don't go to that job if you're not going to follow basic instruction. And if a person can go to a job and submit to a stranger that's giving them less than what they're supposed to get and stay there for 10, 20 years or 5 years, you'll submit to their rules. So I believe that submission is when you get that title as a wife or a fiance, you got to be prepared for that position. That submission means that I have a goal, I have a dream, and I'm including you in it, and I want us to become one. So we got to go back in that role, and submissive, meaning that as a woman, if you're not ready for that position, to say that, you know what, I'm giving my trust to this man that I want to be his wife, I want to be his secretary, I want to be his vice president of the kingdom that he's building. I want to be that queen. See, a lot of people keep running with that queen. Queen means submissive. You're submissive to your king. Oh, wife, you're submissive to your husband. Husband, love your wife. Wife, honor your husband. Respect your husband. Follow that direction. See, a lot of individuals, that's why I say we're married. If you have a problem to be submissive, if you have a problem to give authority to a man, not a little boy. See, the problem is women keep mistaking a little boy from a man. See, a man have a vision. A man have a goal. A man is our intent of vision driven. So if you can't take that position, that title from going into that relationship, you might just stay single. You might just be out here just doing your thing. But when you come to a husband, when you come to a wife, you gotta submit to your husband. If you can't do that, leave him. Because there's a woman that's being birthed. There's a woman that's already here, that's being taught, that already know her roles. She already know what she have to do to maintain a husband. She already know what to do to make her husband grow. See, it's abundant when you marry. It's not just making babies. No, I'm talking about abundance of finance. I'm talking abundance of freedom. I'm talking about abundance of peace of mind. See, a lot of individuals get in the situation not knowing, I ain't thought it was gonna be this hard. Yes, baby, everything is hard. I thought I was just gonna sit in the house and I just be the woman. I give him sex whenever I feel like it. But I'm not gonna listen to him fully, completely. But when as a woman think that way, submissive, don't get married. Submissive, don't get with a man that have a dream. Submissive, don't get with a man that have a goal. Submissive, if you hard for you to realize that, or you telling me what to do. If your manager tell you what to do, and you do, and I'm asking you, see, I'm asking you to do something. See, your husband have that power to tell you, hey, if you can take instruction from your manager, why are you with me? Go marry him. Because you submissive to him. You submissive to the dollar. But why don't you be submissive to a house? Why don't you submit to a man that have a vision? Why don't you submit? If you can't do that, be like your mama. Be like your aunties. Be like your grandmother. Just bring forth bastard children. Because that's the woman that's unruly. Bring bastard children. Or get with the man. Get with his program. Let him hear you out. You hear him out. Make time for both of y'all. Y'all have a family time. Y'all have kids time. And y'all have your own personal time. If you can't follow these three rules, don't get married. Don't be pressured to get married because your mama telling you to get married because she want a bastard child. Because 9 out of 10, you're going to get divorced. Don't get married if your auntie said, man, you at the age now, you should be settled down, but you should tell your auntie this, and your mama this, your grandmother this. You did not prepare me to be a wife. Why would I go to a man? I know that I ain't see you submit to daddy. I ain't see you submit to granddaddy. So why would I go in that position knowing that I have this problem in our family that it's hard for us to submit? Then join the club. Get passed around, get beat down, get thrown away, get left over, get all of that. But if you don't want that, ladies, be submit to a man that have a goal and a purpose and a dream. And I promise you, man, don't take advantage of that submission. Love her, understand her, grow with her, nurture her, bless her, lift her up all the time. That if you have a wife. If you don't have that, pass them by, pass them along, pass away. Somebody gotta get this. You see, the street cat is only attracted to the street rat. Let the street have it. That's what I gotta say, sir.
All right. Mr. Motivation. Mr. King Motivation. You got something over there? But my question for you, it's the same question, right? But I also want to know, should a man also submit to his wife? Should a man put his submission to his part of the bag? Should a man also submit? Like, for example, if a woman asks you, hey, take out the garbage. Hey, can you bring up some stuff? Can you bring up this to me? Bring this up for me. Hey, can you carry this for me over here? Hey, can you paint this room? It looks ugly. Can you paint it for me? Hey, can you buy grocery? Hey, can you go get the groceries? Should a man also submit to a woman? should they both? Should it be like equal amount of submission? But also the same question. What does submit really means in a marriage
Okay.
to you?
Well, first, all right. So seeing that we mainly stick to the, we talk about submission for the woman. Let's talk about the command God gave for the husband. Let's talk about what he did. He said, husbands, love your wife like God loved the church. Now, how did God love the church? He protected the church. First, let's know that. First, let's understand before I explain. Church is the people who make up the body of Christ, not the actual brick and mortar building that you worship in. Church is the people who make up the body of Christ. So now we know what church means. How did God provide it for the church, which means the people? He protected them. He provided food for them, gave them shelter. He gave them structure, and he gave them correction, because correction is a part of love, right? When you do something wrong, hey, don't do that. Let's not do that. Let's do something else, right? Provided protection, shelter, correction, structure. He taught obedience to the church. That was the biggest thing, because the Father is not a father. He's not an author of confusion. See, that's the thing. God is not an author of confusion. So seeing that the master himself who teaches is not an author of confusion, so which means our house, if it's under God, should not be under confusion either. So what am I saying? Okay, now when a husband provides for his wife, when a husband gives his wife protection, when a husband can either provide or manage shelter for his wife, when a husband could, pretty much just give that structure in the house, because the husband knows what to do. He understands his role. You know what I mean? He was taught. He'd been around people who taught him how to move as a man. So he was positioned and ready to take the role of a husband. The only thing he needed was a wife. So when we look at a husband and we look at how a husband role is to protect, provide, and to pretty much know how to bring structure into the household, because structure also, when you have children, structure is also for your children too as well. So when you and your wife have structure and it's not confusion, your children is going to be brought up a certain way. That's how your children is taught how to be wife. That's how your children is taught how to be husband. When the husband and wife themselves have structure. Does that make sense? So yeah. What am I saying? It's like this. If I want to be a plumber, right, I can't apply to be an electrician. And excuse me, if I'm a plumber, I just can't go apply to be an electrician. I haven't been trained for that job.
Yeah, true. Very true.
And so a lot of times when it comes to marriage, a lot of people step into it before they're ready. Now let's go back to the submission now. There's a reason why the Lord asked for women to be submissive. And I think a lot of women don't know why. See, each of us have spirits. Each of us have things we're battling with. You see, sometimes to deal with a man is not to dominate him or to rule him. A lot of women will say, I'm not trying to dominate you and I'm not trying to rule you. You got to watch how you talk to a man.
Mm-hmm.
You got to watch how you talk to him. You may be talking a little abrupt. Okay, the man may not have moved as fast as he did, but he will move. But ladies, never provoke your husband. Never provoke your husband. And husbands, never vex your wife. Ladies, when you're being submissive, it is not being a dog. Submission is an action. When a man has wisdom and he understands submission too as well, When that man has a vision and a goal and a direction, when he chooses his wife, he is given structure and rules to come into his life and build what he has for you. A lot of times, ladies, when y'all come in, you come in trying to change a man. That's not submission. When you come into the relationship trying to find things that you can change on a man, like, okay, he's good here, but I see I can help him here. Baby, you coming in the wrong door. See, you ain't coming through the front door, baby. You coming in through the back door. I left the front door open to you, but you decide to creep around back and try to use your pick lock while I left the front door open. Don't come in trying to change a man. Submission is about your action and how to deal with a man. Most men are naturally aggressive. Even if a man has monotone, even if he's a monotone man, he still has a level of aggression. And a woman must know through her submission how to tame and keep that man's aggression. Monotone. Now, most women would say, well, a man got to check himself. Baby, hold on, wait a minute. A man can check himself, but watch how you talking. A man can check himself, but is a man asking you to do something over and over? And 2 or 3 years pass, and when he's asked you the first year, it still ain't been done. So when he asks you on the 4th year, you catch an attitude. And then sometimes when men ask you questions, ladies, you reply with this: I don't know. That's not submission. That is not submission.
Yeah.
That's confusion. Remember, God is not the author of confusion. Be honest with your feelings. A lot of times, women, you get married, but you're not honest with your true feelings. To be submissive is an action. To be submissive is an action. It is a consistent action. Submission, the way of life for me. And ladies, let me tell you something before I let the next speaker talk. A real woman's power is in submission. It is not through her breast or her vagina or the makeup she covers all over her face.
Facts.
See, that's why God says, do not put all that adornment. Don't let your outside be the reason why you attract a man. Let it be the spirit. You see, God don't work with the outside. He works with the spirit. So ladies, when you work in an operation in submission, you truly true, you have the spirit of God operating within you. Not the spirit of the devil, of Satan, when he's deceiving and lying and not being honest with their feelings. You see, ladies, let me tell you something. If you want to know who was submissive in the Bible, read the story of Esther. You see, Esther was the wife to King Xerxes. How did she act? And ladies, before you say, well, that's her, that ain't me, I ain't got to do all that, that's them. And before you start shaking your head and making all these excuses, you'll be the one headed for divorce court. And if you're not headed for divorce court,
you're breaking up, sir. You can
because you don't
repeat
want
that
to
last part. Repeat that last part. You broke up there a little
then
bit.
maybe your husband coming home late because he does, Maybe your husband coming home late because he don't want to be around you.
Ooh.
If men was honest with a woman, they'll start over. Hey, ladies, let me tell you something. What if marriage was a 10-year contract? Which means that after 10 years, I can decide to keep or break the contract. How many of you ladies will have your marriage after 10 years? It'd be a lot of broken homes, wouldn't it? It'd be a lot of people on a free agent list, wouldn't it? Looking for a home team to play for.
Yes, sir.
Understand, I'm not trying to say anything bad or make someone feel like they're less of a woman or less of a man. But understand, God has left a specific role for us to play. And if followed by his rules, that's man and woman, your house will operate better. You'll have less friction. Woman and man is like two ends of the rope. You got woman on this side and a man on this side, right? Now, what if the man is going this way and the woman is going this way? The rope snaps, right? Now, what if a woman said, well, how come we can't work together? So, okay, so the man comes in the middle and the woman comes in the middle. Guess what? Y'all bump your heads. The rope don't go nowhere. The rope stays still because y'all come in together. The rope don't move. The rope don't move until someone leads. That means someone has to lead, the other one has to follow. That's the only way the rope moves. Otherwise, you'll snap the rope, or the rope will just come in and the rope don't go nowhere.
I know. So, yeah, I get you, but I know Mr. C. Mr. C has something to say over there. I know he wanted to jump in. So, what you got to say, Mr. C, about this?
So I just want to piggyback off a couple things that he said. One, being submissive is hard for people to do because of the choices they make. That's number one. Number two, you coming in trying to change something, trying to change a man or make him better, as they say. I feel like if you met that man and you got to know him and he was honest with you from the beginning, and you know he's a good man, why are you trying to change him now? Stop trying to change people to make them what you want them to be and let them be who they are. Being in a submissive or being submissive, it works both ways. Men and women should submit to each other. If that is my wife, I'm going to submit to her with some things, and some things she should submit to me. But I'm going to also put it like this. Being a man is certain things in a house that you should do automatically. Your wife should never have to take out the trash. Your wife should never have to ask you to take out the trash. That should be automatic. Your wife shouldn't have to ask you or beg you to cut the grass. You with your wife should not open the door. You should open that door for your wife every time. Being a man is not something that somebody can put in your head. It's how you've been taught and how you've been raised. Being raised a certain way, you already know as a man, if you walking with your woman should never walk near the curb. The old ways of life, when the man did a lot of things, his main mission was to make sure that his wife was good, taken care of. She didn't want or need for nothing. All right? He made her feel secure, no matter where he went. If they were together, his wife knew, I ain't got to worry about nothing because my man got it. All right? I get tired of hearing that chivalry is dead. Chivalry is not dead. It's the fact that these younger women and younger men have never experienced true chivalry or been taught how to be this way. When I was married, I used to submit to my wife a lot. Why? Not because it was the wrong thing to do. It was the way we communicate. We had a equal yoke situation. We understood. You have strength in one area, I got strength in another. When we say our house, this is our house, which means everybody takes part in everything that goes on in this house. My wife wasn't the only one that washed dishes. She wasn't the only one who washed clothes. She wasn't the only one that cooked. And the one thing I could tell you that my wife would tell you, or my ex-wife would tell you, she never worried about anything. When she was sick, it was my responsibility to take care of her, and I did that. Vice versa. That's when you submit to your mate.
Mm-hmm.
Not only that, don't pick somebody that you know is not worthy of being married or having been being married to.
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, if y'all don't communicate or have a great line of communication and y'all not honest with each other through thick and thin, the good, the bad, the right, the wrong, it ain't gonna work. So this word submissive, to me, it works for both people. Because not only that, when one falls short, the other should pick up. And then when
Yep.
the other one falls short, the other one should pick up. But if y'all don't do things jointly and collectively and have a great line of communication, submissive to me is just a word. It's about actions and reactions. What I do should reflect on you, and what she does should reflect on me. If my wife would have told me, hey, I'm going outside, excuse my language, guys, girls, if I had on some shorts and my balls were hanging out and she didn't find it was appropriate, guess what? I would go change my clothes.
Yep.
If my wife at the time would wear something where her boobs were out and I ain't like it, guess what? No, you ain't wearing that outside. My wife should never think, or my ex-wife should never think that I went outside to do anything different, whether she was there or not. But if you don't communicate, physically communicate, have quality time for each other, y'all never gonna submit to each other anyway. But like I said, you gotta make time for each other. Just like my man said, when you're in a marriage, women, stop thinking that you can use sex as a weapon to keep your man at bay when you feel like it. It's not a good thing. Because it's going to be that day you're going to be like, he going to come to you and say, hey, baby, you know, da, 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 and you tell him no. How would you feel if he told you no? Next thing you think he out there cheating or sleeping with somebody. But you setting the precedent. You open the door for the next person to come in and steal him from you. And that also works both ways. But then also, ladies, I want y'all to understand another thing. Men are not mind readers. I am not a mind reader at all. And I'm not going to try to read your mind when you're in your feelings and you feel some kind of way. If you're in this type of relationship or in a marriage, you should be able to go to your husband at any given time. Look here, bruh, I don't like XYZ, or I feel some kind of way about this, that, and the third. And y'all should be grown enough adults to sit down and have a conversation about it. It ain't about who wins or loses. It's about give and take. These last few years, I've been around a couple of different women, and it's more take than give. It's about what you can do for me, or what are you going to do for me? How much money you got in your banking account? I need this new purse. Or I got to get these Louis Vuitton shoes or red bottoms or whatever. When you got a man buying you, he going to think you a hooker. And he going to treat you as such. So my thoughts on this, don't step into a real relationship or a marriage unless you're 100% ready. And you're never ready. Go get some counseling before y'all get married. Remember the old ways back in the day, how a man is supposed to treat a woman, and how a woman would treat a man. That's the only way things are going to get back to where it should be. And submissive is just a word. Just a word. But that person that you do submit to, make sure they submitting back to you. And they loving you and treating you the same way that you treat them. That's my argument for the day.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much. That was amazing. I learned so much from that.